I am going to prove to you, Inspector, on camera, that I am.
You're under arrest for arrest for alarm and distress.
Had your chances there, pal.
Have my chances. I ain't done no wrong, mate. You're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Hi guys, what's going on? It's Big Mad Audits here, and I'm the only auditor who audits the auditors. If you can get that out easily. And today we're with Auditing Yorkshire, we're at Huddersfield Police, where he really manages to piss off an inspector. Let's take a look. Just a little bit of photography. Never hurt anyone. Standing on a public footpath. Sorry about the boring start.
Are you giving tickets out?
Ticket to...
Are you giving tickets out?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What's the problem here? Have you not got a ticket? Do you want a ticket?
No certificate of medical, my friend.
I'm asking.
Huh?
I'm asking him.
All right.
Yeah, why?
Because I'm asking because it just looked like you were bothering an innocent member of public. Because if you look down there...
Yeah, I know that. I know that.
Can you go ticket them, please?
A ticket every four, you take him off.
Well, they've got to... Listen, mate, there's no exception to law. You've got a police van and a police car parked on the path.
I done it in the morning.
I'm not having a go at you. Look at that. Double yellow lines, double blips.
Okay, so let's just talk about the parking, okay? Now, outside of London, it's quite difficult because there's different sort of bylaws, okay? In London, it's illegal to park on a pathway. And realistically, it's actually a criminal offence under Section 137 of the Highways Act of 1980 to cause an obstruction, okay? So, in fairness, you know, they could be considered, and there would be an argument for the fact these police vehicles are blocking the public path. They're also not allowing for any disabled access. You would expect, as you can see on the road, just in front of you, you've got the drop curb. You'd expect someone who's disabled on a perhaps wheel cart to come down actually into the road, placing themselves in danger to actually continue past to the police station. So it certainly doesn't set a good example, does it, straight from the get-go? And all kudos, by the way, to the civil enforcement officer who's actually already ticketed the vehicles. But that's if he's actually done it.
That's disgusting.
Disgusting. Everybody say. By issue, he's taking off.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm not going to have a go at you because it's not your fault. You're just a civil enforcement officer. But it's a bad reputation, that, to, you know, to public. You know what I mean? It's a bad image, a really bad image. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've never seen no like it in my life, and I've been all over the country. I've never seen
If issuing in the morning time 2-3 vehicles.
Right. Have you done them today, yeah?
It's taken off.
Right.
So
I'm gonna follow it up anyway.
Yeah, you
I'm
can
gonna
go-
follow it up
yeah,
and,
yeah, you can go check.
and see if I can. Who do you work for? Council? Do you work for Kirk Police Council?
I work at.
Directly? Right. Just so I can save, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a complaint in, not about you, about these guys.
Yeah, you
So
can do that,
I'll just
yeah.
get your numbers. 117.
Yeah.
CEO 117.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to ring council and put a complaint in
Yeah,
and tell
yeah,
them that I've
that's
spoken
fine,
to you
that's fine, no
and that you've been
problem.
really polite and really professional.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, good lad. Look at this, guys, Huddersfield Police Station. Look at this. We've got a police van. Just take the back there. A police van on the path. As you can see, members of the public are having to walk onto the road to walk around it. It's absolutely disgusting. Double yellow lines, double blips.
So, a member of my family is a civil enforcement officer, okay? And if you go back just a tad, I'm going to take it back just a tad, okay? They're actually parked in a loading bay, okay, which is also a ticketable offence. It is a loading bay, unless they're stopping for an emergency. And the person I know who worked with me actually used to ticket police officers who would misuse their powers. They would actually have their emergency lights on, which means that there would be a case of emergency, and she caught them coming out of a sandwich shop in Chelmsford High Street in Essex and ticketed them for it, and rightly so. Okay, because if that was you or I who had parked illegally like that, we would be expected to get a ticket. So in this particular case, I do hope that they are ticketed for parking in a loading bay. So it's great to sort of catch up with a bit of the action where we can see some interaction.
Get a close picture of them blips as well, look guys. And the yellows. Yeah. Registration on that one. Registration on this one. That's disgusting. Absolutely diabolical. Hey, we've got blue lights. Yay.
Okay, so before obviously the officer gets out and makes the interactions, he's obviously coming to talk to him for taking photography. Okay, so he is entitled to put the blue emergency lights on because he's actually dealing with a suspect, as it were.
You're that cock. How are you doing?
Ask you what you're doing, please, sir.
Oh, Inspector, that's brilliant. Can you identify yourself, please, sir?
Inspector Dyson.
Inspector Dyson.
Can I ask you what you're doing, sir?
Taking a picture of these
Right, why are you doing that?
because I'm going to report to
Oh.
professional standards and the council.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely disgusting. I've witnessed so many people having to walk onto the road and endanger themselves.
I am recording at the moment.
Thanks for telling me, Inspector. I'm not having a go at you.
Matter of courtesy, just to let you know. Obviously, I don't know who you are.
Oh, yeah,
You've
yeah.
got a mask on. That,
Brilliant.
That could obviously be some reason for you hiding your identity. I don't know.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got a camera going.
I have, and I really...
taking photos of
Yeah.
police station, police buildings, which you do know that there is an offence which doesn't get prosecuted very often regarding taking photographs of public buildings, which this is one of.
Okay, let's stop there. That is absolute nonsense. There is no law, no legislation, nothing that says you cannot take a picture of a public building. If you go down into London, you go up the Mall, you stand opposite the King's house and take a picture of his building, that is perfectly legal. You go up to any RAF base, any military base, stand on the outside in a public place, you take a picture of the building, there's nothing illegal with that. You can go into central London and take a picture of MI5, MI6, any secure building, New Scotland Yard, they can do nothing about it. And PC Vacuum Cleaner here seems to think he can create a law to try and enforce that is just Mickey Mouse. I don't get it. But let's listen to what he says.
Okay, so I would ask you to desist on doing that. Okay.
Really?
If you want to take photographs of police vehicles, that's fine. That's up to
What
yourself.
what offence is it, please, if you don't mind me asking?
If you want to look it up, I don't know the full legislation, so what initially do, but there is an offence of taking
Right.
photographs within it or of a public building.
What's-
Like you can't do it of a court or within a court building. It's the same guys, the same legislation.
absolute horseshit, Mr. Vacuum Cleaner. I would have imagined that an inspector would know the law better than a member of the public. Quite clearly here, he's trying to influence someone, and me being him, of course, he's trying to influence a member of the public to stop him doing something he doesn't like. Well, that's a shame, isn't it? I don't like the colour blue, but I have to put up with it.
So, what I was going to say to you is, obviously, you want to speak to people about the parking of vehicles, obviously. I'm quite happy for you to do that. What I will say to you is that if you want to forward details to professional standards,
yeah, I'm going to
direct them, it's up to yourself.
To be honest, Inspector, and I mean this with the utmost respect, I'm flabbergasted that you seem to think it's an offence, or there is an offence, to film public buildings, but you can't tell me what it is. I'm flabbergasted.
Why?
Well, a man of your experience, you look like you've been at job for a long time. You're an inspector,
you're obviously
and you can't tell me what offence it is.
To get a bite out of me, and you've got.
I'm not trying to get a bite out of you.
What I'll say to you is there is a lot of legislation out there,
right,
okay?
Which I know.
Well, yeah. You tell me what that legislation is.
Well, I don't need to tell you. You're an inspector, mate.
I've told you there's legislation that prevents people from taking photographs of public buildings.
Right.
Okay. I cannot quote the actual script here of the legislation.
Well, until you can quote
it, in place.
Stop talking about it.
Right, okay.
Because I know what it is. But until you can quote it, stop talking about it. I don't wish to discuss it further.
What I say to you now is you are now getting to a level where you are now becoming a little bit obstructive and offensive.
Well,
okay.
You came up to me.
I would ask you to leave the area. I've come up to you to ask you why you're taking photographs of a public building.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there again. Okay, so now the inspector's getting fed up of dealing with Auditing Yorkshire. He's now trying to demand that he leaves the area. He cannot do that. He is in a public place, standing on a public footpath. It wouldn't matter if that was the King standing opposite him. He cannot make Auditing Yorkshire leave the area. But now he's claiming that he's being obstructive. He's not being obstructive. What he's asking for is, you're trying to be the police officer here. You're trying to enforce some legislation that I know doesn't exist. I'm asking you to prove there is legislation, because I know it doesn't exist. And just because PC Vacuum Cleaner, Inspector Vacuum Cleaner here, can't get it, doesn't know it, because it ain't there, now he's going to have a bitch fit.
Police vehicles, okay? I've explained myself to you. I've told you I am. Can I ask who you are?
He's laughing at you.
Can I ask who you are?
Who are you? Identify yourself.
Can I ask who you are, please, first?
You don't have to.
Right, you do have to. Okay, you've been asked to identify yourself by a member of the public. There, you have to provide 3 pieces of information, ideally. Your collar number. And all those of you who've watched my audits will know your collar number, your surname, and which station you're based out of. The collar number itself is not enough. It is not unique per officer. So it will also need to be done for the stations that they fall in and out of. Jesus, sometimes people think, I'm there standing behind my inspector. I don't care whether you were standing behind God. You are supposed to do, you are held to a professional standard. That is what you train for. You are trained to do that. You decide you want to uphold the oath. I know, but because I'm going to have a little bit of a I'm bigger than you, we don't have to tell you who we are. Yes, you do. Go and check your policy. North Yorkshire, I think they're actually Yorkshire Police at some point, but it's definitely Huddersfield Police Station.
To indict.
Can I ask who you are, please?
So you've got an inspector here,
okay,
and you're telling me you do not have to identify yourself?
Right. At the moment, I'm getting concerned more about your behaviour.
WK9N. So Whiskey Kilo 9 November. He's the dog handler at Huddersfield Police Station.
Can I see your details, please?
Badge number 3092 PC Huntington. You'll be got a professional standard, sir.
Can I see your details, please?
No, you can't.
Right, okay. What I'm saying to you now is that you are also causing a bit of a problem here now, aren't you?
I'm on a public footpath.
Okay.
I'm on a public footpath.
I know you are. And you're obviously one of these people that wants to come round
no.
and try and wind police officers up.
I'm just doing something other people don't have the balls to do, which is take pictures of police cars parked in just an absurd place. I mean, come on, who the hell has parked there?
Right.
Double yellow lines and double blips. Do you know what that means?
Right. If you're
the Road Traffic Act
regarding for special standards, please do so. What I've asked you to do now is actually move on yourself.
You're going to professional standards as well.
Fine.
And so is this guy here.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
At least you told me you recorded. And it's nice to see you don't have a gang badge on. You've got a gang badge on, so don't even look at me. I don't want to speak to you. Get rid of that. Get yourself on eBay and get yourself one of these. $2.99 and wear it with pride. The Union Jack flag. Yeah, take that crap off. Get a Union Jack.
I am starting to believe that you are now committing a racist incident.
No, I'm not.
If you carry on
A racist incident?
Yeah.
I'm a British citizen on British soil.
I perceive this to be a racist matter now.
Okay, so now what he's doing is it's called reaching. The officer is now trying to find a reason to be able to make an arrest or to be able to give him a reason to go away before I arrest you or whatever. Now, to explain about the thin blue line or the gang badge, it's a picture of the Union Jack or a badge of the Union Jack with a thin blue line through the middle of it, for those who don't know. What that is supposed to resemble is all of the officers who've died on active duty. People call that a gang badge and some people find it offensive. I don't know if I do, but at the end of the day, these guys find it offensive because they call it a gang badge. They're saying it's an alteration to our national flag. They say there's a whole host of different things. Now, outside my house, I fly the George Cross. Now, I live in England. England is a country. I fly the George Cross purely because I like to say I'm English. Doesn't mean I'm not British. But I prefer to identify as English. So these officers are claiming, because of the thin blue line, which by the way has no race, no colour, no creed, nothing, he's trying to play the racist card. That would never wash, ever, by the way, and I would be wholly surprised if any CPS would take up a case of racism against the thin blue line. It represents people who have died in active service. And the argument of the auditor is where's the line for people who die in police custody? I understand. Now, I will point out people that die in police custody, it isn't due to police brutality in a lot of the times. It may be because they're overdosed on drugs, or they may be alcohol dependent, or they may suffer a heart attack, or whatever it is. There's 1,000,001 reasons. So I don't say that it's because of the police that these people are dying in police custody, because they may have died anyway. But what I am saying is more people die in police custody than officers in active service.
Okay.
I am a British citizen on British soil.
I would ask you to leave the area, okay, because you just offended me and my colleague by saying that badges that we wear
I am a British citizen on British soil wearing a Union Jack
that to be a racist
in
behaviour.
England.
Please leave the area now.
In England.
Okay.
I am wearing a Union
Please
Jack,
leave the
so
area
how's
now.
that racist?
I'm
That's not
saying,
representing the
you're
country.
saying that
How's it
he's banned.
racist?
You're saying that things that we wear we shouldn't be wearing.
Well, you
I
shouldn't
find
be.
that offensive, and I
Well,
find that
20
hating
I'll tell
to
you
them.
what I find
So
offensive.
I want you to leave the area
20
now,
years
please.
ago, 20 years
I
ago,
want you to
police
leave the area.
officers were told they wasn't allowed to wear the
I
Union
want you
Jack
to
on
leave
the
the area now,
uniform,
please.
because it wasn't part of the uniform.
I want you
So
to
why are
leave
you
the
wearing
area.
gang badge?
Okay, so obviously this is now going to escalate. I can see what's coming. I think you at home can see what's coming. He's now gone from racism. Now he's been offended. As a police officer, you can't be offended about someone saying they don't like the fact you're wearing the Union Jack with a blue line through the middle of it. They'd like you to wear a plain Union Jack. That's very difficult, and you're never going to prove that that's offensive, ever. These are just called tactics that he's using. He doesn't like Auditing Yorkshire. He's now taken a stance that he's going to get him whatever he's going to do. He's moved from everything now, okay? And let's see what else he pulls up.
Is what makes them
I
part
want
of
you
the
to leave
uniform.
the area now.
No,
Okay.
I'm on a public highway. I am on a public footpath being obstructed by 2 police vehicles.
No, you're obstructing the path as well.
No, I'm not.
Because you won't move on.
I am obstructing the path, they're obstructing the path. I've got proof and evidence, and somebody else recorded.
Can I take your details,
that this is
please? Because I
this
believe
is
you may be committing offences now.
fitting an offence. Committing an offence?
Yeah, obstructing the highway.
No,
Okay, now we've gone to obstructing the highway. You cannot obstruct a public footpath by standing on it. It is designed for pedestrians, not vehicles. The argument in this particular case is that the vehicle is blocking the footpath, so I have no alternative but to stand in the road. And I would actually point out to the officer, did you know, officer, it is a criminal offence, I'll say it again, under section 137 of the Highways Act of 1980 to cause an obstruction on a footpath, especially in central London where there's zero tolerance to it. So explain it here. And he's also parking illegally in a loading bay. Just don't know with some people.
these are obstructing the highway.
Offences in relation to...
Your police van's obstructing the highway.
Yeah, that is allowed to do because I'm dealing with an incident that's protecting
There's no
me.
incident. There's no incident to deal with. You came to me, and that's what we're doing.
I came to you because I was concerned about your behaviour. Okay.
Inspector, you are dismissed.
Bye-bye.
Don't wish to speak to you anymore.
Good.
Absolute muppet.
That's your first warning regarding public order. If you call me a muppet again, I will arrest you. Okay?
For what?
Public order. Harassment, alarm, distress.
Okay, now let's stop it there. Harassment, alarm and distress. The officer is now extremely angry. He keeps approaching him. He walked away. He's come again. He's called him a muppet. In the line of duty, 99% of the time, an officer cannot feel alarmed, harassed or distressed. And if this police inspector, Inspector Dyson, or vacuum cleaner as we'll call him, PC vacuum cleaner, because that's what he'll be busted down to when he takes his next action, is quite literally going to lose the next bit of case. So he's claiming it's bewildering to me how they believe that they're going to get away with it. And I tell you what, let me quote you the law, okay, on harassment, alarm and distress, because it to me is just a joke, because it's an offence of causing intentional harassment, alarm and distress, okay, under the Criminal Justice and Public Order Act of 1994, and it's section 154, okay. So part 1 of the Public Order Act of 1986, officers relating to the public order after section 4 shall be inserted into the following section. Section 4, intentional harassment, alarm or distress. A person is guilty of an offence if, with intent to cause person harassment, alarm or distress, if he uses threatening, abusive behaviour or disorderly behaviour. Now, one of the interesting things that I take away from this is it used to have insulting in there. Okay, but it has been rescinded. So the word insulting was removed from S51 as from the 1st of the 2nd, 2014. So he can insult the officer by calling him a muppet. And there's nothing he can do about it. So take it away, boyo.
Okay.
Are you being serious?
No, I am very serious.
You are going to be very, very famous by the end of today, my friend. Very famous.
If you call me a muppet again, I will arrest you.
Let me get out of the way, because now I'm obstructing the road. I'm going to prove to you now that I am not here.
It's offensive.
I am going to prove to you, Inspector, on camera, that I am not.
Arrest.
Okay, so here's the arrest.
Harassment, alarm and distress.
Had your chances there, pal. Have my chances. I ain't done no wrong, mate. You're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Okay, so now what's happened is that Auditing Yorkshire has now been arrested for causing alarm, harassment or distress. Can't possibly cause alarm, harassment or distress because he hasn't used a threatening or abusive words in behaviour or disorderly behaviour, and displays in writing signs or other visible representations of which is threatening or abusive. So the officer has absolutely no leg to stand on. So he's in fact committed an illegal act himself, because unfortunately for him, he has now opened himself up to Section 26 of the Criminal Justice and Courts Act of 2005, which is where corruption or improper exercise of police powers and privileges has just taken place. A police constable listed in subsection 3 commits an offence if he or she exercises the powers and privileges of a constable improperly and knows or ought to know that the exercise is improper. Here you have an unlawful detainment, you have an unlawful arrest, and could be found guilty of the Criminal Justice and Courts Act of 2015, Section 26. And by the way, Auditing Yorkshire, I'll happily help you.
Can you let go of my arm, please?
No, you're under arrest.
You're going to be in a lot of trouble, Inspector. What are you pushing me up against there for? I'm not struggling. I'm not struggling. What are you pushing me for? There's no need to push me. Why are you pushing my arm further up my back?
I told you you're
and
under
I've told you, yeah, I'm under arrest, but I'm not. I'm cooperating. So why the hell are you doing that to me back?
Bank keys are in my back pocket, somebody could move it.
You're in a lot of trouble. Don't delete your body cam footage, Inspector, because I'll be making a subject access request.
This is a good feeling. This is a good thing, right? Okay, so Auditing Yorkshire said it. Now, if you're being filmed by an officer, obviously he has to tell you that he's using his camera. In this particular case, the inspector did, which is good on him, right? Now, you can make a subject access request for any film that you're incorporating. It doesn't matter whether it's a CCTV footage, whether it's a body cam, everything. You are entitled to every piece of information unless it's contained within the Official Secrets Act, right? You can know that information about you, and that includes all of this.
I'll be making a subject access request for your footage. Yeah, I'll turn the camera off now. Am I safe to turn the camera off?
Take it back.
Okay, so we're going to leave it there. We don't know what the outcome is, but all we do know is he's now been arrested for a public order offence for calling an inspector a muppet. Well, there's two arguments to that. Yes, Inspector Vacuum Cleaner, you are a muppet. What are you going to do? Are you going to call everybody out? Insulting has been removed from that act of alarm, harassment and distress. And you're a police officer, so you don't actually qualify under those rules. Oh dear, this could come expensive for your chief constable who's about to open his wallet. Anyway, guys, thanks very much for joining us here on Big Man Audits. Big thank you and shout out, of course, to Auditing Yorkshire. Don't forget, like and subscribe to the channel if you're still with me by now. And I'll see you again very soon. 10 up.